let's say I were to make a Roblox account and then I were to give it to like a niece or nephew, right? They don't know, they cannot distinguish what is a gift versus what is an account takeover. And again, that's where us as service designers uh, and as UX pros, we would have got in and we would have been able to map that out.
Hey everybody, this is Eve Eden, and this is UX Murder Mystery. Hey Brian, how you doing?
Good. Eve, today we're revisiting a past product that we've talked about, which is our old friend, frenemy, uh,
I was gonna say
Roblox.
friend, are you sure about
No, not a friend at all. Roblox. So last time when we talked about how it was not showing any type of regards for child safety, and they um, kind of optimized for engagement, and what they were not really like thinking about child safety at all. They weren't using their chat moderation, and their privacy settings were not optimized for kids. They buried the reporting tools, and now there's been dozens of lawsuits that anybody can read about. We'll post up some screenshots of those lawsuits. Um, so surprise, surprise, if you don't protect vulnerable kids, you're probably not going to be protecting the businesses that decide to hop onto the platforms.
Mm. So what happened, Brian? What is going on right now?
Well, so it turns out that Roblox right now, there's a couple of different stories. Um, there's the first story, which apparently happened back in April, which was Ukrainian cyber police arrested three men, ages 19, 21, and 22. Um, they compromised more than 610,000 Roblox accounts, including 357 high value elite accounts. And they netted roughly $225,000 as they were reselling access on underground Russian forums.
Oh wow.
And the way
So
they
what is the elite accounts? Are those just accounts that have like that type of currency? And so it's like been compromised or was it something different?
I think I did not. I need to read into what the elite accounts exactly are. So I'll take a quick look at what that is. But they used um, malware that was disguised as in-game bonuses or game enhancements that
Oh
players then ran,
wow.
and they lifted usernames, passwords, and session tokens. Um, so yeah, that was. This is according to just to cite sources. This is according to um, Info Security magazine, and they do not say. And they say elite accounts. They do not say what those elite accounts are in this citation. So let me see if there's another.
So it seems like the seizures included about $35,000 in cash. There was 37 mobile phones, 11 desktops, 7 laptops, 5 tablets, 4 USB drives, and that were these suspects faced up to 15 years.
Yeah. So while that happened, then the most recent thing that happens now is that, and this is from 404 Media, this happened literally last week. Um, Now there's another hacking case that's happened where they stole not just items, which is what happened last time. This time they stole the entire business. So hackers were able to take over the developer accounts and seize ownership of the whole games plus the Robux revenue. So to give people an idea, within Roblox, people build games. So you could build like a race car game, or you could build like a with those like claw machine game, you could build something like that, right? Like you could build any type of like types of like little games inside Roblox, right? Um, and it turns out that now they're stealing, they stole the entire, basically got into the dev accounts. And they started, the way they did it was really interesting, Eve. They used social engineering, just like the people that were going after these kids before. They used the same tactic.
Ah,
So they pretended that they had a job opportunity to become a project manager on a game to these two young one of these two young men. um these two sons that built a game called the Shadow Network that had 12,000 members. So they offering the job, they convinced this kid to run a malicious file. The file allowed for within hours for the hackers to take over the whole game, and were able to drain all their money. Just basically, we're able to like let them right in the door.
wow. So, um, with this case that you're talking about with the two sons, spending like 5 years building the Shadow Network game,
Yeah.
with the hackers taking over, like I'm guessing this like group of 12,000 folks, what is it feels similar in nature to, like the text messaging we're receiving, right? Where it's like weird, where it could be like, hey, are we getting lunch tomorrow, or something like
Yeah.
strange like that, where then you're just like, hey, I'm sorry, you're probably talking to the wrong person, and then you get into this conversation with someone you have no idea who it is. And in this case, is that kind of what happened, where they were posing as the company, and then basically once they got what they needed, they just took off
It's a very
and
common
ran with it?
Yes, it's a very common tactic. I don't know if you've gotten this before. I've gotten this before where um a you get a message from like a recruiter, and they claim to be from X, Y, or Z amazing company, right? So I remember years ago, I got a message from some who worked for PlayStation. And I was very excited. Oh, this is cool. Somebody's offering me a design job for PlayStation. Then I checked the email, and it was like, oh, it's a Gmail, and it has a random string of numbers, and it's a Gmail address, and they want to meet me on a Microsoft Teams meeting. And
Yeah.
so basically it's like, they've taken all of the stuff to make it look like they're part of this company, but then they're lying to you, and they're telling you they're basically using the social engineering aspect is the same thing that all con men do, which is that they flatter. They first start flattering you and telling you how great you are and how wonderful you are, right? So, a 20-year-old kid, you start going, "Oh, you made this game. Oh, look how you're so wonderful and so good. We're from big giant company X. We'd love to hire you." And to a 20-year-old kid, they probably got super excited about it. And then they go, here's a file that we just need you to run to do some, basic stuff that we need to do but for background or whatever. And boom, that was it.
Wow. Okay, what's another case that's happening right now within a similar, I would say similar industry?
Oh, this is, let's see. Yeah. This is another person. So I got it. This is Mohammed Caparosa, who was contacted on Discord and asked to install a package, then logged out of Roblox on PC and phone. His two-step verification and passkey were changed without
Uh-huh.
permission. And then again, they were able to get in and steal this guy's information. And then a third person, I hope I'm saying the name right, Jovan Ray, who's a 15-year-old Canadian who built his game, who is getting about 10,000 Robux per day, and hit 1,100 concurrent users, and was his only source of income. He also apparently that happened to him as well.
Okay, so these three cases in my mind are, it's interesting. I mean, case two doesn't necessarily bring up how old Muhammad is, but
Yeah,
they seem like they're targeting younger individuals. Are you noticing that?
yeah, absolutely.
So they're targeting these young individuals, and they seem obviously savvy. They're not, they know what they're doing on the internet. What is this gotcha that's happening? To me, Roblox is almost ignoring in a way.
Yeah, Roblox apparently denied the claim for the ownership recovery, which is very interesting because they said this is the quote from it. There's no indication that group ownership was transferred due to your account being compromised. So it's
Oh
kind of
no.
right. So it's a that and that this is an interesting UX loop. This is where you would need service designers and you would need UX folks in
Yes.
there to be able to say, to walk through the journey map and be able to say, well, if you get locked out of your account or if your account is compromised, then how do you recover? And and I don't know about you. I've been in those meet rooms with security people where security people don't realize that if you get locked out of the system, how do you get back into the system? And they realize that they have not done that journey map, or they have not thought of how you could get back into that system.
Right. So what you're talking about is these three cases of, either building these games, and just having your account compromised. It's almost like they're missing um, guardrails around coaching
Yes.
these individuals through maybe an onboarding that says, listen, if you're going to build inside this platform, here's some things that you should consider, so that you don't land in these types of situations.
It's essentially that if you, in this instance, the platform has no idea how to know whether a hacker has stolen something or whether or not us as individuals have given an account over. Let's say I were to make a Roblox account and then I were to give it to like a niece or nephew, right? They don't know, they cannot distinguish what is a gift versus what is an account takeover. And again, that's where
Mhm.
us as service designers uh, and as UX pros, we would have got in and we would have been able to map that out.
Yeah, so one thing that also, with the first case, is the platform had no record that distinguished a theft from that sale or gift.
Yeah,
Brian, have you thought about that, from like a UX perspective? And how would you have, I guess, protected the individuals that are using your platform, so that they don't, um, they wouldn't have crossed this road with like someone compromising and stealing their money within the platform.
yeah. I mean, well, I like again, I think it's one of those things where we know you and I have experienced security people or IT people that do not have a clear path as to like what the consequences of their actions would be. I don't know
Yeah.
about you. Years ago, I was contracting for a very big company, and I remember the security people saying that they were going to lock down X, Y, and Z. They were like, we are not going to allow X, Y, and Z to be available at this company. And I had to be like, I had to raise my hand and be like, hey, you realize that I'm a contractor and I don't have access to your internal systems. So if you do that, that cuts me off from being able to do my job.
Right.
And like that's part of the thing where like we have to be in those rooms and we have to have these types of conversations with folks. Otherwise, this type of stuff happens.
Yeah,
Um,
it's extremely black and white, like off or on,
yeah,
instead of let's get in a room, get in, on, in like virtual room or a real room and on a whiteboard, like just basically identify the fringe cases that don't make any sense because you turning off like like access to oh only you can only access your email through a Microsoft laptop. Like there are places like that, Ryan. It's
yeah,
incredible.
oh
And
yeah,
it's so one like narrow-minded, it's kind of just moronic.
yeah,
Like there are other ways of accessing data that you can still kind of use security loops through. The cybersecurity way of doing things, it feels like UX is completely eliminated. Like
totally.
they don't even put together use cases for individuals, like contractors, like people who don't use like laptops that are company owned or issued, and but still need to get the work done because look, believe it or not, your company issued laptops probably suck and are so slow that you can't actually do much work on them anyway, and no one in your company is going to tell you that, but I will. This is where the UX person will tell you you're making people's lives, or really the work they're producing slower because of these types of scenarios. So it's extremely important to have like a person who is in user experience that can vouch for what's happening internally within your own company and then externally with your users, like this type of platform where they're being compromised. um, it's so funny because if you think about it, these platforms are compromising end users, you know, currency,
Yeah,
and then companies that are just on the opposite realm, locking down everything where it's preventing you from doing your work properly, like internally.
yeah. I mean, being able to and not being able to like recover or self-recover from that. I have a whole like big issue with two-step verification, which is a whole nother topic that we can talk about some other time. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
interesting to me that Roblox didn't even respond until 404 Media reached out to them. So like, what a bunch of nonsense is that? Like, you have to go to the press in order to get customer service, you have to go to the press, and then they're worried about like more like PR damage. Like, I don't know, like Roblox, like how bad does the PR damage have? Like your PR, you are now associated with child predators and like in the realm of like Jeffrey Epstein and shit. You have multiple lawsuits going, and now you have this on top of it all. Like, it's kind of bananas to me.
Yeah. So anything else on the realm of, just the shift that happened with um Roblox? Have they implemented maybe a new strategy when it comes to their product? Do you know anything else? Like, have they changed maybe their validation system with maybe, I don't know, teenagers, or at least maybe like some sort of training or knowledge base articles on how to help people in these situations?
Nothing that I have seen thus far. If anything, I would say like like they already have these lawsuits happening, and if they already knew that these lawsuits were happening, why would they not have already shifted gears to prevent these types of acts from happening too? Like,
Right.
and also like I don't know, we they mentioned elite users in one of these articles. You and I were talking about like we don't know who these elite art users are, but like
Yeah.
think about what we were talking about in the previous episode about how Roblox has connections to these big brands, including I just recently discovered Lego is also part. Lego is associated with Roblox, and so is I think Nike had something to do with Roblox, and I think we saw Prada or some other companies. These are brands, and like what like that seems like really bad news if somebody can get and hack into these systems. That seems like a lot of vulnerability for these big brands to be part of.
Yeah. Yeah, I think especially if this continues to happen, would you say that these brands might, because branding, their reputation is honestly probably one of their top three concerns.
Yeah, yeah, yes, it is. And the creators on Roblox, I mean, this is also like a ton of money is made by these creators. The creators on types of like elite creators, these people making the games, apparently they can earn more than 1 billion a year from this is like median type of thing. I don't think it's the total of like an individual creator, but uh, they between from March 2024 to March 2025, there was an estimated 1 billion a year made by these creators. The
Wow.
total payouts ran closer to 1.5, up from 900 million in the prior year. So this is like a decent amount of revenue going through this.
Absolutely. I mean, if that's like the case too, do we know any onboarding, like is there like a tool, like a preparation tool for, what could happen if, you do go viral within this platform?
You mean what happens if you go viral within this platform?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't I that part I do not know. It looks like there was a controversy over a YouTuber who was known for running sting operations against predators, though. They sent him a cease and desist, fueling a wider argument that the platform policies are for the wrong people. So there is I don't want to name who this person is because I don't know what the exact deal is. But this person, there's basically a YouTuber that was trying to catch predators and on the platform was banned.
Right. And he was like a kind of like a white hat hacker in a way, right?
I guess, yeah,
Okay. Interesting. Um, so let's pivot to with this I don't know, when you were talking about the creators on this platform earning, significant amounts of income, and that these victims seem pretty young or even children in the
yeah,
first case.
yeah,
Um, and in this case, having like their own income, um, and like the platform not necessarily concentrating on minors. Um, if it was, if you were a part of the product team within this platform, what are some ways that you would contribute, let's say because you have to be reactive in this case,
yeah.
reactively, like what would you put out like day one or day, let's say 90, once you kind of like settled into this job here? What would you do to help, these victims out within the platform?
Well, first, I it just has to be said that I feel like the brand damage is so drastic that I don't know that I would want to take a role with this company because of how bad the damage is. So but in the imaginary world where I decided, yes, I'm going to take this role and I'm going to work with this company, I would say this. I would say the first thing you got to do is you have to go in and implement a moderation system, like a very aggressive moderation system, and you have to start pruning out all of the known predators that are already within the system. You have to start aggressively going after all of those people and removing them ASAP. Um, the other thing I would say is that you also need to start making easy filters for all of these words and all of the some of the words, some of the contents. Um, and I think you also need to like maybe start to, because of how poorly the this thing has been set up, you might need to start setting age restrictions, setting age restrictions up so that like you have to go have a parent or you have to go have like a verified parents first before you're able to get into the game. You know, like you just
Yeah.
basically starting to have create more parental oversights onto these games. You know, um, like you have to, that just has to happen.
Well, what I also want to bring up too, I don't think maybe you haven't brought this up, is you have to have a minimum of 100,000 Robux to convert, and the rates that it
So
sits currently is 0.0038 per Robux, with a new US adult rate of 0.004 introduced in June 8th of 2026. So this is just like last week. Today's like June 19th. So but really the point is these accounts hold real value. They're with
yes,
it's you're able to withdraw this type of money, and this is why these accounts are being hacked.
yeah.
Which I guess I didn't realize. The worth of these Robux would be, but there is cash value behind it.
Do you know? Yes, there's an infamous. So there's another game that I only know the story of because it's become like internet legends. Um, there's this game called Eve Online. Uh,
Oh yeah, I've heard
no,
of
no,
that. Yes.
right, no pun intended, Eve. But
Yeah.
uh, in that game also has like money that's coordinated to real like accounts and things. And there are like all kinds of like incredible and dastardly things that have happened in that game. Dastardly, I will say, within the game world. Game like so within the premise and the boundaries of the game, like amazing um uh plays that have been done that have resulted in real money uh, um, polls, which is incredible. But this is way different. This is more about hacking and like this is outside the bounds of the game that this is all happening.
Yeah, I would, you mentioned what I would do. Well, similar to kind of like GitHub, um, what what you could do, and I don't really play a lot of games, but I think that there would be, it would be good to show when you first download a game, like an app, you'd know the creator, the original creator. You would there would be like where you could remove and add like there would be admin like type control. Um Maybe there would be like revenue access, where like on and off access, or change access maybe to like people. Um right? So, like, there could be these ways that you would have a control panel, um, so that every game or, this group, you said like 12,000 members. It's kind of like Facebook groups, perhaps. Obviously, now with like a monetary value around them, um, that you would just have these like ways of displaying information that's needed. Maybe even like, why don't accounts show location? Like, what if you had like a location, like, oh, this account is in the US or in Miami or
I mean,
in
I wouldn't
Kyiv.
want that. I wouldn't want that happening, given that this is the company that has had real life sex predator shit happening.
Yeah. Well, what
And
I'm saying is the more transparent you can be, the more you can say, well, here's the original like person that created the game. Here's a user, where they're from, so that way when at least there's some transparency, where it's not just this like you don't know who you're talking to, right? So that there's like, you know what I mean? Like there's some like here's what I'm thinking too. And this may be like connected to like when we had our podcast about dating sites.
yeah,
Here's my thinking, and I'm gonna connect it back to Roblox. Is if I can match with someone, I don't know if they're using their real name. I don't know if they're using their real picture. I don't know if they're using anything real. However, if there's a way where the internet can kind of interconnect, or just being online, interconnect, like this is their who they're affiliated with. These are their friends or these are their family. Like similar to LinkedIn, this is the company I work for. And in order for me to prove that I work at that company, I have to give my email address as verification that I work for that company. Do you see what I mean? And I'm not thinking about maybe like the hackers and like how they'd use it against you. I'm thinking about me as an individual. I'm not being malicious, but there's a malicious person trying to attack me. So what do I know about them so I can prevent myself from being a victim? That's what I'm talking about. Is the kind of transparency on who are you? Who are you connected with? Why would I even start a conversation with you? There's something about the internet that bothers me, where I know you, Brian, I know your friends, I know where you worked, I know your colleagues, I know your, people that you are related to, and
right,
I trust you, right? There's
right.
something about that I feel like a UX standpoint, it's missing online. It's too, mask, like eyes wide shut, like weirdness that
Well,
is creepy and kind of almost plays into the darkness of it instead of the transparency.
so I see two dual sides to that. Do you
Yeah,
remember early days? I mean, early days of the internet.
yeah,
It, people thought it was in what we are doing right now would have been insane in the early days of the internet. The idea of putting your real name, your face, having anything talking about like where you live, all of this information. Early days of the internet, people were very very wanting to very much keep the mask and hide things. And I remember, my parents talking to me as a kid and being like, "No, we're not. Right?"
yeah,
And that was part of the idea of protecting, of keeping people safe by like not showing the information and not getting doxxed. So and I think that there is a need for anonymous communication, especially with like the amount of surveillance that has started to pop up in the internet, and
yes, I know,
like
I
it's
know, yeah,
a problem.
yeah,
However,
it is a problem. Yeah, go ahead.
however, I also agree that there's the theory of like, does being so anonymous allow people to be shitheads and wear the mask and say awful things and do say yada yada. Yeah, that's also a real problem.
Especially, right, what you're talking about is the capabilities of the internet back then were very limited. We are living our life online, right?
100%.
We are living on like our life here. Like we are,
100%.
now, I am not right now. I'm not choosing to go to your house and hang out with you at your place so we can have this conversation. I'm choosing to have this conversation with you online.
Right.
And my preference and ease of living is doing things online, shopping,
Totally.
entertainment, friendship, right?
Yeah,
So I feel like we, because of this renaissance, it's a renaissance of new thinking in order to also protect us. I think the old ways of doing things are not working, apparently.
I agree. Well, and I think to bring it back to Roblox, for a moment, you know, the fact that they were not taking care of the kids and then that leading into like the businesses, I think the big lesson for companies to take from this, and it kind of goes back to the accessibility issue episode that we just talked about and some of our other episodes, is like if you aren't taking care of your most vulnerable populations, inevitably is
Absolutely.
going to you are going to get burned. Inevitably is going to start coming after. So because they've moved a rung up. You're right. Like they have small kids that have been abused and you know and now it's moved a rung up, right? Like now it's teenagers and young adults that have developed games. Well, what happens when it hits Nike or Lego or Prada? What happens when it's one of those accounts that gets hacked? What
Yeah,
happens then? What happens if it starts daisy chaining and they're able to like get deeper into those big corporations? It's going to be a disaster.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my thinking. I know generally the way I think about solutions is a little more provocative in a way that challenges like the way we think because it isn't something that you see possibly, in company strategy yet. It is future thinking because we're living in a time where things are moving fast. And just because of previous experience does not mean it's proof for future tech. Like this is where I encourage and lift up the inventors of our day, which are, I believe, our UX designers, our engineers, partners, and our product folks. Right now, we're being kind of macheted, off. We're on the threshing floor, perhaps. But I do feel like it will make a comeback. But we need to, come up with these like fresh ideas. We're not, copying and pasting, and we're not thinking, being thoughtful in our business approach and who it is that we're serving, the end users we're serving. And in just cases like this over and over again, I mean, it is idiotic,
yeah,
like the
I agree.
approaches that we are think that are working. They're not. And
No,
so like thinking bigger and maybe, unusual, um, maybe is something we need to approach. Like,
yeah.
we need to talk about it.
Yeah, I agree. So, Eve, as we wrap up this episode, we are headed to config. So probably by the time people see this, config will be over. Um, but we should ask people to tell us if they gone to config or if they met us at config. They should send us questions at uxmurdermystery.com. That's the email. They should leave us comments, leave us a review, Apple review, and tell us what you thought in the comments. If you've gone to config, tell us what you thought about config. Tell us about config.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, and if you are at Convig, we are I think we're giving away a little swag, aren't we, as well, Brian? Do we
Got
have
some,
anything for people that
got some stickers. Got a whole bunch of UX murder mystery stickers.
absolutely. So if you see us around, please come hang out. We'll be around, and I think we'll have some equipment, and we'll be asking questions. And please come and talk to us. We'd love to chat with you.
Yeah,
All right. Well, thanks again, and yeah, have a good rest of the week. We'll see you next week. Like, subscribe, and follow, or become our next victim of bad UX.
UX Murder Mystery is a joint production of Eve, User Experience Design Agency, and Crowley UX, where systems meet stories. It's hosted by Brian J. Crowley and Eve Eden. Edited by Kelsey Smith. Intro animation and logo design by Brian J. Crowley. Music is by Nicholas Lee. You can follow us at UX Murder Mystery. You can email us at questions@uxmurdermystery.com. UX Murder Mystery is a copyright 2025, Brian J. Crowley and Eve Eden. Thanks for listening.